you then will be out of order again. And then you will have to leave the house. It's as simple as that. So you better be quiet. Okay, Honorable Mbaya, please proceed.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 33-1, I rise to seek leave for the adjournment of the House for the purposes of discussing a definite matter of urgent national importance regarding mysterious killings in Shakahola in Kilifi County. Honorable Speaker, many lives have been lost in Shakahola, Kilifi County as a result of radical religious teachings by a controversial pastor named Paul Ndenge Mackenzie. It is reported that Pastor Ndenge Mackenzie, through his purportedly skewed radical religious teachings, has been manipulating and indoctrinating locals to undertake extended periods of fasting in order to meet Jesus. A number of these people are reported to have died in the process in order to meet Jesus.
Order, honorable members, please stop engaging. Member for Fujula, the Honorable Professor Oundo. Don't excite Honorable Wanjala.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, Didmas, Captain Didmas, please. Thank you. A number of these people are reported to have died in the process, including 2 children whose deaths in March 2023 were linked to the pastor. Shockingly, several bodies have also been discovered in what are suspected to be secret graves used to bury starved followers of Pastor Paul Mackenzie on his 800-acre ranch in Shakahola. The bodies have since been exhumed by the authorities. Honorable Speaker, the purported pastor has been arrested twice in 2019 and in March of this year in relation to the deaths of children. However, he was released on bond and both cases are still proceeding through the courts. The residents of Kilifi County urged the court not to release him, decrying the spread of cults in other regions of the country, but their plea was not heeded. As a result, today, over 90 bodies believed to be followers who fasted to death have been exhumed in his ranch as of today, April 2023. Honorable Speaker, appreciating the freedom of worship, there is need for the government to enact laws and policies that prohibit and discourage unlawful practices that are not in line with conventional religious teachings and beliefs of a community in order to uphold the security of citizens. Honorable Speaker, it is for this reason that I seek leave for the adjournment of the House in order to deliberate on the matters so as to chart the way forward and propose possible lasting solution. Honorable Speaker, allow me to give a highlight of some of the key matters arising out of this motion. The Good News International Ministry is believed to have been founded in Kenya in 2003 by Paul Ndenge Mackenzie and his wife Joyce Mikamba and operated for a long time in Migingo in Malindi. Madam Speaker, the church has had various run-in with the law and has been largely associated with radicalism. In 2010, in 2017, Mr. Mackenzie and his wife were charged with promoting radicalization as well as denying children access to health care and education, and running a school and a television station unauthorized. The latter precipitated the closure of the television station the following year by the government. Honorable Speaker, in 2017, the then MP for Malindi, Honorable Aisha Jumwa, actually had a run-in and exposed this pastor then when he started his cultic activities. He told children not to go to school. He asked people, graduates of universities, to tear up their certificates and degrees and diplomas and told them education is not part of God's plan. And this shocked the nation. But the Honorable Aisha stood her ground that because at that time Honorable Aisha Juma was associated with the Deputy President then, she was shut up and Mackenzie was allowed to continue. Until now, when we have an IG who has come out very strongly to say this man now must be apprehended. But then in 2017, nobody bothered. Honorable Speaker, in 2018, community leaders in Malindi said Mackenzie was dangerous. Nobody listened. He ran a television station. That television station taught radical things. And I remember the chairman then of the Kenya Film Board pulled down the station. But there were people in government who said the station can go on. And even took him to court, and he was released. Red flags were raised on Pastor Paul Mackenzie, but nobody listened in the government then. Honorable Speaker, Mackenzie also faced other controversies. In 2019, he was arrested for inciting the public against the registration for Huduma number by likening it to the biblical number of the beast, the 666. Mackenzie was arrested. He was taken to court. Influential people said he should be released. He was released. Pastor Mackenzie said the Kenyan Constitution was an evil document brought to Kenya by the devil himself. Then, and a red flag was raised, but somehow he found his way back again into circulation to continue to preach that gospel again. He actually said the Constitution of Kenya is satanic, but he was allowed to continue with his work. Honorable Speaker, he has resurfaced again in 2023. And this time it is tragic. He is believed to have brainwashed his followers into starvation. But himself, he eats, a father of 17 children. His children are eating and feeding well. His wife lives in a beautiful house, eating and feeding well, while he is telling his followers not to eat because it is time for them to meet Jesus. That is the tragedy of Paul Mackenzie. His 17 children and his wife, yes, are doing very well and living comfortable. But here we are, faced with over 90 bodies have been exhumed and still counting. It is believed by those who are eyewitnesses, we are likely to find over 200 bodies buried in that 800 farm. This is a tragedy. This is terrorism. This is a man who has the mind of killing people and derives pleasure in looking and watching people die. This is a man who has committed a genocide on this soil. A man who should not be walking in the streets of this country. This is a man who should be behind bars. Actually, he is safer behind bars other than outside. Honorable Speaker, the judiciary in this cannot go unblamed. Even when red flags had been raised about possible terrorist activities by this pastor, last time when he was taken to court in March, he was released on a bond of 10,000 shillings. 10,000. And a magistrate who actually was told, this man has caused the death of these two children, let him go on a bond of only 10,000. As the discoveries continue, Honorable Speaker, we need to put a stop to radicalization. For many years, this country has invested in Islamic radicalization. But we are watching systematic radicalization by people who call themselves pastors. People who just rise out of nowhere. Today, Kilifi has one of the biggest cities that is being built by a pastor. A pastor who we are all suspicious whose intention it is he has. He has built a huge city, a multi-billion city if you go to Mavueni in my constituency. That pastor came here today, that pastor, their children who go to school and they carry white handkerchiefs on their heads as they are doing exams because they have bought those handkerchiefs from the pastor. They carry water that they have bought from that pastor. They come to class and they put the water in their ears so that they can learn better.
Honorable Kamket, you can't be wearing your tie as you walk into the house. You can just go back and get dressed first.
Honorable Speaker, we are entertaining this pastor, but one day, I can assure you we'll have another Mackenzie. Today, children who are sick are being withdrawn from the Kilifi County Hospital and taken there to that pastor. They are prayed for, they die, and they are taken Women and men who take antiretroviral drugs are being told to stop. Sick people on diabetic are being told stop taking drugs, and you come, we pray for you. They die there, and nobody is talking about it. But I can assure you, Honorable Speaker, we will face another massacre from that past. But nobody wants to talk about it. A multi-billion investment. Where does this pastor get the money? You go there and buy water very expensively. Cultic activities are increasing, and Kilifi has been targeted as the seat of this cultic. Honorable Speaker, as I finish.
What's your point of order, Honorable Mbui?
Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity, Madam Speaker. And I'm rising on the point of order of dress code in the House. The Honorable Didmas Baraza has just walked in, and he's got on a cape which is not religious, and it is also not parliamentary. Madam Speaker, we cannot have double standards. Last Parliament, the Honorable Didmas Baraza was sent out for wearing that cape. In this Parliament, he keeps coming with it. He was sent out by the Honorable Justin J.B. Muturi as Speaker. He was sent out. It is in record. He was sent out. So we cannot have double standards. And Madam Speaker, I also want to say that the jacket that the Honorable Member was told to remove, I wore such a jacket to the House and was allowed to stay with it in last Parliament. So I don't know whether the rules have changed. Madam Speaker, he is out of order. He needs to get out.
Honorable Speaker.
Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, probably because this Pastor Mackenzie is called Pastor Ndenge Mackenzie, and I hear Robert Mbui is also called Mbui Ndenge. He wants to derail. He wants to derail my presentation. Honorable Speaker, what I'm
Member, if you just put the intervention button, then I will see you.
Honorable Speaker,
there's no need to do a shouting.
Honorable Speaker, this should be a wake-up call to Kenyans and local administration, where in spite of the long chain from Nyumba Kumi to Wazee wa Vijiji and all that, these activities of Paul Mackenzie took place in the eyes of everybody, and nothing happened. Honorable Speaker, I think we have an opportunity as the 13th Parliament to put our foot down and stop the death and massacre and genocide of Kenyans by pastors who purport to preach a gospel that is alternative to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I thank you. I beg to move, Honorable.